In a previous video, we looked where Mike Zimmer was ranked 15th in the NFL amongst head coaches, and we were going off the cuff. It was like, I'd rather have this guy, I'd rather have Zimmer over this guy, etc. So we thought, why not do a tangible ranking? Now, with rankings, especially with the coaches and quarterbacks too, it's always sort of difficult. Do you want 5 years from now? Are you planning for the future? Or do you want one game? Do you want one season? So we always fall back on one season, right meow. Who do we want in charge of our football team? So we're going to go through the rankings. And this is a modified, I think this is like week 9 power rankings when, the Steelers eventually started out 11-0. But this is in no particular order. We're going to go through and scramble, and we'll just start things off at the bottom. So who's 32? Who do I absolutely not want coaching my football team? Well, I'm not going to lie. The kid from Up, Mike McCarthy, we're going to take him out. Bottom of the list, where I think he got way too much credit in Green Bay for things that the octogenarian Aaron Rodgers was doing. So, I also just look, I don't know him from Adam, but just I don't see being inspired by him. I don't. I really don't. Also on the bottom, do we have to throw our guy David Culley under the bus? I kind of feel bad for him because it does feel like the Houston Texans are basically just trying to run out the clock in this season, get to 2022, and Culley, 65 years old, passing game coordinator of the Ravens, who could not throw the ball well, but I think that he is a sacrificial lamb in this spot. And now, it's tough because a lot of the guys that would be on the bottom of the head coaching list are guys that just got into the job. Actually, no, just kidding. John Gruden. Man, I got John Gruden back in the day when he was coach of the Raiders the first time around and at the beginning of his Bucs tenure, but now the game's passed him by. I think Mayock's in over his head. They've had horrible draft picks. They've had horrible free agent signings. So I think even though he's got a 10-year, $100 million deal, I think this might be the end. Especially if they do end up selling the team and new ownership comes in. It's like, no, absolutely not. Who else on this list are we going to throw under the bus? I'll take Vic Fangio. Fangio, for me, was a guy who seemed destined to always be just a great defensive coordinator. Every single place that he went, he was phenomenal, just coordinating that defense. I was kind of shocked when he threw his hat in the ring to become a head coach because I don't think he's cut out for it. I really don't. I think that he's Zimmer light. I think he's defensive coordinator with the challenge flag. I think he's on the thinnest of ice with the Broncos. And John Elway has shown that he's not afraid to make a quick change. Vance Joseph, after 2 years, I think Fangio's lucky that he got the 2021 season. So I think that he might be gone after this. So now, I like Salat, I like Judge, I like Arthur Smith, so I'm going to save them for a hot second. Do we put fake-ass Brad Childress down there? Yeah, where it's ironic that fake-ass Brad Childress and Fangio were together in Chicago because they actually had some success. But I think they're two halves of a pie, and you want a whole pie. Where Matt Nagy, maybe he got by on the coattails of being Andy Reid's non-play calling offensive coordinator. We've seen that before. It worked out with Doug Peterson. It did not work out with Brad Childress. It did not work out with Matt Nagy. I think it will work out with Eric Bieniemy eventually. But yeah, Matt Nagy. There's nothing that he's going to ruin Justin Fields, and that sucks because I do like Justin Fields. Let's see, who else will we throw under there? Zach Taylor, 27. So Boy Blunder's had a couple years in Cincinnati. He got his number 1 overall pick hurt. He does have Jamar Chase now. So, if they can't get something together on offense now, when's it going to happen? But if Zach Taylor's fired, even though the Bengals ownership is very... that would be a very intriguing spot. See, who else would I throw under there? Yeah, I'm going to go PC bro, Dan Campbell. And I do like Dan Campbell when he was interim head coach with the Dolphins after they fired. What was his name? He was the Packers offensive coordinator. It doesn't matter. But when he took over as the Dolphins interim head coach, I thought he had a chance to stick around. But also, being involved with the Saints and stupid-ass Sean Payton, that does not help at all. So he's down there too. Now I think we have to start getting into the first-time head coaches, where Nick Sirianni, I don't know him from Adam. He was the OC or QB coach or whatever with the Colts, so that's whatever. Arthur Smith. Do we just put them in as a block? Because they're all sort of on the same level for me, because they haven't done it at the NFL level. There's a first-time head coach. Well, Joe Judge last year. I believe in him long-term. I think that he has too good of a pedigree working under Belichick, working under Saban to not get things going with the Giants. And he was a surprise pick last year, but they do have the tools on offense. Maybe Daniel Jones is not going to be his quarterback, but I think Judge does get it done. Plus, I do like coaches that come from a special teams background as Judge does, because I feel like they're not romantic about one side of the ball, offense or defense, and they're more of a head coach with the entire team. Plus, they understand game management a lot better coming from special teams. So it's interesting to me. Robert Saleh is a true leader of men. I think he's a great defensive mind. I think that he is going to lead the Jets. I think that he will work hand in glove with the offense, even though Mike LaFleur, the 12-year-old boy's younger brother, is in charge of the offense. But I think that they do have something special there with Zach Wilson and Mekhi Becton and the company there. So go get that thing going. Urban Meyer. I like Urban Meyer as a college coach. I don't know if his style is going to work in the NFL. I know that he is going to take more of a figurehead, CEO, overseer of the entire team, as opposed to being down in the trenches, X's and O kind of guy, which, I mean, could work, and frankly, did work in college. Let's see, what else? What do we do here? I don't know. We're going to drop Staley. We're definitely moving up Belichick, so when we put them off to the side. All right, so we're going to put Staley. And we're going to drop Staley. Actually, we're going to raise up Arthur Smith. I like Arthur Smith a lot. So there. We're going to put the 12-year-old boy in at 20, where I feel like the 12-year-old boy is getting by just a little bit on the coattails of the octogenarian Aaron Rodgers, allegedly the 2020 NFL MVP. And maybe it's a little bit of Mike McCarthy syndrome. I mean, just a little bit, where, it's really easy to coach really good players. It's like, hey, Phil Jackson, how'd you get all those rings? Oh, you coach Jordan and Kobe and Shaq and Pippen. That's great. Even though Pippen and Phil Jackson not seeing eye to eye at the moment, but I digress. But he got that job in Green Bay after a year of being offense coordinator in Tennessee, where the offense was not very good. And then Arthur Smith supercharged that offense in Tennessee with the Titans. So I don't know. I don't know if the 12-year-old boy, Matt LaFleur, is actually a good head coach or just taking advantage of circumstances. Who really knows? Next, I'll drop Matt Rule. I like Matt Rule. I think he's a really good college coach. Last year was sort of whatever with the Panthers. I think that him and Joe Brady have a shot this year to really implement their scheme and their system, especially since this is a normal offseason as opposed to last year. That was a very tough road to hoe. But talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball in Carolina, they're fast, they're fun, they get after it. So there you go. Let's see, who else? I think Arthur Smith around middle of the pack is fine until he proves it. I'm very bullish on him long term, though. Ron. So I like Riverboat Ron, except I think he's a pumped up version of Mike Zimmer, where he's a defensive minded guy, and you like him a lot as a dude, but can he get you over that next step? And even though Riverboat Ron went to a Super Bowl, didn't get it done, and the Panthers under his watch were always good, not great, and frankly, I think that he was the right man for the job in Washington because they were a mess. And even if he just gets them to playing good, which I think that he has a shot. I mean, they went to the playoffs last year, and they have one of the best defenses in the league and probably the best defensive line. Maybe they have a shot. Sure. So now what do we get into? Man, starting to get thick. I'll put Frank Reich at 16. And now it gets into, would you rather have Coach X or Coach Y? Right, so would you rather have Zimmer or Shanahan, Zimmer or Vrabel, etc.? I would rather have Zimmer over Frank Reich. I would rather have Zimmer over. Actually, no, I forgot about Cliff Kingsbury. I'm gonna drop him. I'm not impressed by Cliff Kingsbury at all. I think that he is a lot of sizzle, not a lot of steak. I would take Joe Judge over Cliff Kingsbury. So we're gonna drop him pretty far. So where are we at? We're at 14. Shanahan is going to be up there. We'll just toss him up there for now. Now we're getting to like the Vrabels. I like Vrabel a lot. Would I take him over Zimmer? It's pretty close. I like the edge that he brings. But Vrabel, defensive guy, even though he played a lot of tight end back in the day, I think that Zimmer and Vrabel are sort of similar, where they're old school meat and potatoes guy. They're going to play their way. They're going to coach their way and make no apologies. And on one hand, you respect it. On the other hand, you're a little bit frustrated because they're so obtuse. Obtuse and can be stubborn about it. So it can be a double-edged sword there. But I'll put Vrabel at 14. I'll put Sean Payton at 13 because you respect the offensive acumen. I don't think that he's a good high character leader, but that's fine. I mean, that's fine. Of course, us Vikings fans, we have a long history with Sean Payton and the Saints, so that's whatever. Now it starts getting thick, man. Or did we skip one? Oh, no. Belichick is still out there just chilling. What do we do now? Do I want Flores or Zimmer for one season? It's pretty close. I'll put Zimmer at 12. I would take Flores slightly over Zimmer, but is it a spot where for one season, would you rather have Zimmer or Flores? That's where it's really close. For multiple years, I think Brian Flores is going to be a great head coach in this league for a long time. So that's where we're splitting hairs here. So actually, yeah, I'll give the slight advantage to Zimmer. I'll put Flores at 12. I'll put Zimmer at 11. Now, Sean McVay. He's shown that he's very smart. He's shown that he's a good game manager. He's shown that he is very cerebral. I don't know if it's going to work out with Matthew Stafford. I just really don't. Would I rather have Zimmer or McVay for one season? It's close, man. It's close. I'm going to give the slight edge to Zimmer over McVay. Yeah, I am. Sean McDermott, I'm taking over Zimmer. I think Sean McDermott is a hell of a head coach. I love what he's done in Buffalo, like what he did as D coordinator in Carolina. Stefanski, yes, I'm taking Stefanski. Oh, Pete Carroll. Hey, I'm dropping Pete Carroll. I think the game has passed Pete by. I really do. I think that Pete has been in cruise control, coasting mode. Not even cruise control, because that would suggest that you're staying at the same level. I would say he's coasting to a slow stop since they decided to throw the ball from the one in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to drop Pete Carroll. I'm going to drop him farther. Yeah, I'll put Pete at 12. All right, so Zimmer bumps up to 9. I'm taking McDermott over Zimmer. I'm taking Stefanski over Zimmer. Shanahan, Harbaugh. Now it gets close. For 1 year, 1 year. I will take Shanahan slightly over Harbaugh. What am I, though? See, this is where it gets racked up and stacked up. Arians, I love me some BA, no risk it, no biscuit. And again, I think BA is close to retirement. Maybe if he wins the second Super Bowl, which he won't this year because the Vikings will be hoisting that Jerome Barty and Inglewood up to no good. For multiple years, you don't know because Bruce Arians is certainly up there in age. Andy Reid for 1 year, yes. Would I rather have Tomlin or Andy Reid? I'll take Andy. There we go. So Andy Reid at 2, and then I'm going to put Belichick at 1. 2020 notwithstanding, I still think that Belichick is the best strategist when it comes to being an overall head coach. He is very involved in offense. He's very involved in defense. He's very involved in special teams. He is the perfect CEO type head coach. And yeah, I'm still taking Belichick for one season. Last year wasn't just an absolute friggin' fluke and anomaly. I think they'll be back in the race in the AFC East. So again, 1 year, I'm taking Belichick. So I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel pretty decent about this. And it's mainly pivoting around Mike Zimmer. Which coach would I rather have instead of Zimmer? Which do I not want over Zimmer? So I think it goes Belichick, Reid, Tomlin, B.A., Shanahan, John Harbaugh, Stefanski. I love me some Kevin Stefanski, man. You saw when he was assistant with the Vikings where he survived multiple regime changes that instantly coaches saw that this kid was going to be special, and I think that he is. I think he's phenomenal. And what he did with Cleveland year 1, 11-win season, won a playoff game from his basement, developed the best offensive line in football up front with Callahan. So I love me some Kevin Stefanski. I do. I really do. Wish he would have stayed here in Minnesota, but it is what it is. I would take McDermott over Zimmer. So that's it. Yeah, Zimmer clocks in at 9. And controversial, I would take Zimmer over McVay. I would take Zimmer over Flores, even though that one is close. That one is super close. I would take Zimmer over Carroll and Payton and Vrabel, although Vrabel's pretty close. I think they're kind of the same guy. They're like the Looper version of each other, where Zimmer is Bruce Willis and Mike Vrabel is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I would take Zimmer over Reich and Ron. And man, this list could be really different in a year. I mean, Arthur Smith has a ton of toys. If they can fix that offensive line in Atlanta, they could maybe have a stew going. Yeah, 12-year-old boy. And this is part, yes, bias against the Packers, but I'm not overly impressed. I'm not. And also, why'd you choose to kick the field goal, son? Urban Meyer, whatever. Fake ass Brad Childress, David Culley, and Mike McCarthy. So there you go. That's our ranking of the NFL head coaches. What are your thoughts on our thoughts? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Post on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.